Could Geno Smith get traded to the Las Vegas Raiders and reunite with his former head coach, Pete Carroll? We will discuss that possibility and more coming up on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Before we go any further in today's show, folks, we are ramping up the content here all offseason long on Seattle Seahawks Today. Next week, we're headed to New Orleans for Super Bowl week, and we are going to bring you exclusive content from the Super Bowl right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. So if you love the Seattle Seahawks, this is the channel for you. I want to get at least 50 subs off today's video. We're going to continue to bring you live shows twice a week, daily news and rumors, Q&A mailbags, breaking news and more. Your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV, and we'll get started with today's show. Could Geno Smith be on the way to Las Vegas to reunite with his former head coach, Pete Carroll? That has been a big topic of discussion over the last several days after Pete Carroll was hired as the next Las Vegas Raiders head coach. And it's interesting. You look at the perspective from Geno Smith and how he responded since the hiring was announced. Immediately, Geno followed the Raiders on Instagram. Interesting. All right. And then he proceeded to post a photo with Pete Carroll on Instagram as well. He put this up on his story. You can see the two of them as he was congratulating his former head coach. Now, I'm not going to overreact, but I would say that it is a courtesy. You know, it is a nice thing. Geno reaching out to Pete Carroll and showing some love for him, that's a very good thing. With that said, they've always had a good relationship. I don't think it's unusual for him to go out of his way to congratulate Pete and to follow the Raiders on IG, but it is very, very interesting. Could it lead to something else? Let's dive in a little bit more here. Here is why a trade to Las Vegas could happen. Number one, the 2025 draft class is pretty limited, folks. And where the Raiders select at number 6 overall, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, the top two quarterbacks in this year's draft, could already be gone by them, kind of making their options slim for who could be their franchise quarterback. Unlike the Seahawks, the Raiders have plenty of cap space. They can afford to pay guys like Geno Smith and, among others, potentially the money that he could command as he's looking to get that bag. The new GM of the Las Vegas Raiders, John Spytek, comes over from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and has a good track record with veteran quarterbacks. Everything from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. Geno Smith could be right up his alley. And how about the Tom Brady factor? Tom Brady, he has made it known that he's got a lot of respect for Geno Smith. And you look at Tom Brady, this was a guy that was a former 6th-round pick himself and sat behind Drew Bledsoe. Maybe he sees that as the recipe is, let's bring in a veteran quarterback and let's use a later round pick on another quarterback and let them develop under a veteran. Potentially let Geno be that veteran. And then, of course, there's the Pete Carroll factor in all this as well. No secret, he is a big fan of Geno Smith. So what could a potential trade look like? FanDuel put this trade idea out there just a couple days ago. They suggested that the Seahawks send a first-round pick and a second-round pick, or actually the opposite, that the Seahawks get a first-round pick and a second-round pick in exchange for giving up Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. I think there was also the talk of potentially Michael Mayer being involved, the tight end as well. Nonetheless, folks, this trade idea is drunk. All right? I mean, there's just no way the Raiders are interested in giving up the number 1 and first-round pick, 6th overall, and the 37th overall pick. This is a Madden trade. All right? This is not serious. on the part of FanDuel to even put this type of idea out there. And I'll say this. I think a trade is unlikely. But just the fact that Pete is there does not mean it is impossible. I highly doubt that trade proposal that was thrown out there by FanDuel would happen. But I don't think it's a 0% chance that Geno would get traded to the Las Vegas Raiders to begin with anyway. So let's ask you to put your GM hat on. Should the Seahawks trade Geno Smith to the Raiders? Type Y for yes and for no. Weigh in our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. The big game is almost here, and Game Time has tickets for you to the big game in New Orleans. I'll be there. You could be there too, folks, with Game Time and make memories for a lifetime on Game Time. And Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. Here's how it works. Choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat. See if you like that seat or not, and then boom, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time offers their super deals. Those are deals you don't want to pass up on. They also have their Customize Your Spot feature as well as their seat views. And with Game Time, the lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHAT. SBRTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks today. All right, now back to this idea of potentially trading Geno and sending him to Las Vegas. I am of the belief that the Seahawks should not trade Geno until they have an obvious replacement in the building, all right? And that's the key here. Somebody that's already there that's ready to go. At this point in time, they don't have that. Sam Howell's not that. And they're not going to be in position to get that in this year's draft with picking 18th overall. So there's no reason to move on from Geno right now. As I have said previously on this fine program that we call Seattle Seahawks Today by Chat Sports, that Geno is basically on a year-to-year predicament at this point. And right now, you don't have his replacement. You're not going to find anybody better than Geno at this juncture of what you could potentially be looking for on the QB market of just the limitations that are out there for you. Geno's not your long-term solution. I think we all know that. Geno, it's been a very good ride for him. He wasn't supposed to be anything more than a bridge quarterback taking over for Russell Wilson, and he has been very good for what they are paying, all things considered. But all good things must come to an end. He's coming off a season with 21 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, completion percentage past 70%. It was a solid year for Geno Smith. But at 34 years old, nobody is expecting this to last. But here's the thing that I will keep in mind on this, folks, when it comes to Geno's future and how potentially a trade could happen, all right? We have the roster bonus coming up in March, and that's kind of the hard deadline for Seattle to figure out their situation with Geno Smith. If the Seahawks cannot get an extension done with Geno, then he very well could step up and say, if you're not going to pay me, if you disrespect me, I want out of here. He could say that. That's a potential possibility if they can't get something done. The Athletic recently projected that Geno's worth about $37 million per year on a new deal as a base salary, and then some potential incentives for bonuses and such beyond that. Mike Macdonald has made it no secret that Geno's his guy, that he would like to see him stick around. He said, I want Geno to be here. He's a heck of a player. The first thing always comes back to what's best for the team. I feel like Geno is the best for the team right now. I'll be involved with it Ultimately, it's not my decision. It's the Seahawks' decision. But Geno knows how we feel about him. We love him as our starting quarterback. And here's the thing. If Seattle's not willing to pay him the money he wants, somebody will. There will be somebody out there because there are enough desperate teams in the quarterback market that if negotiations aren't eye to eye, if John reaches a breaking point where he says, yeah, Geno, we just can't make this work, I got to go with another option here, then somebody is going to be willing to pay that money. And it just might even be the Las Vegas Raiders. And you look at Pete Carroll and the history between these two. All right. Pete Carroll has made it known that Geno Smith is one of his all-time favorite quarterbacks he's ever worked with, ever. And this is somebody that was the head coach of the Jets, the Patriots, won a couple national titles at USC with Matt Leinart and company, and also won a Super Bowl, of course, with Russ. And he's very loyal to Geno. So, with that said, let's ask you, should the Seahawks extend Geno Smith? Or are you ready to just kind of let him walk? What do you think? Type E for extend, P for pass. If they don't pay him, somebody will. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today for the latest happenings on your favorite team all offseason long. Can't wait to get down to New Orleans. We're going to bring you some exciting content from Super Bowl week. Stay tuned for that. Appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next time.